Hey guys, and welcome back to Angel Education YouTube channel. It's that time of the year when your Common App applications for top universities across America need to be submitted, and no time like the present. We had a lot of requests and decided to do a video on a step-by-step walkthrough how to submit your Common App application for admission to undergraduate programs in America. Without further ado, let's go. Hey guys, welcome back. Just a quick reminder as always to hit like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and also check us out on Instagram and TikTok for more content that we don't publish here. We regularly, at least once a week, upload a video on tips and tricks about education, university admissions, and everything around that. So hope you enjoy the content. And yeah, without further ado, obviously, if you're watching this video at this point, you know that when you're applying to top or any American universities, majority of applicants do that through a portal known as Common App. So what actually Common App is and how to use it? Well, in today's video, we're going to walk you through it. So what you need to do is you need to go to commonapp.org. So I'm just doing that right now. Okay, and once you're here, you click Create an Account. So Common App is basically a system, a portal that allows you to apply to up to 20 American universities. It's much more complicated than some other countries like the UK, where you apply through UCAS, but it is what it is, and it's the best we have. So on Common App here, you have to pick whether you're applying as a first-year student, transfer applicant. This is when you're already at university and you want to transfer from your university to another one, or if you're a parent or educational professional. So we assume you're a first-year student. So here you add your email address. Okay, and then you put in your details. So let's say applicant is John Smith. The phone number you're applying with, let's say you're from America. Date of birth. Let's say you were born in 2001 in January 1st. Are you currently based in the European Union? Let's say no. Just to simplify things, applying as a first year to plan to start college in 2020-21. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, great. So now you're in, and you see this interface, where you have dashboard, my college's Common App, college search, financial aid resources. You have your CA ID, which is your Common App ID. It has, I believe, eight digits. Normally, yes, 8 digits. And that is ID, that's like your unique identifying number that goes to every university with every application. So keep it safe, and you have it here. So the first thing you need to do when completing Common App, and it's best to start this early in August, in the year before you apply, is to add all the information, all the basic information that goes into your Common App. So there are sections on, just very basic information. Have you ever had a different name? Your gender, date of birth. If we go continue, your address. I don't want to provide any alternative address. Basically, all the basic information that every university will need. And so what Common App does is, instead of you having to submit this information to every single university separately, Common App collects it from you once, and then it copies it and then sends it to every single university in America, or where you apply. Not every university is on Common App. So universities such as Georgetown, MIT, universities that are part of the California system, so UC Santa Barbara, UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC Irvine, UC Riverside, they are not part of the Common App, but majority of universities in America are, and you can apply there. Let's say that's my home number, no other telephone number, to keep things simple. As we're going through this section, religious preference, I don't want to tell you. Anything that doesn't have a red asterisk, you don't have to answer. So yes, I've completed the section to my satisfaction. So, but you of course can answer, and it's entirely up to you. Generally speaking, I would recommend yes to answer this, but you don't have to. Okay, let's say we were born in America, born in New York, baby. City of birth, New York. How many years? Let's say you lived 17 years in America. and 0 outside of America. Of course, if you're an international student, you lived 0 years in America, assuming you're coming from outside and you lived 17 years internationally. How many languages? Let's say you speak, I don't know, 3 languages. You speak Mongolian, you speak Spanish, and you speak English, so 3 languages. So we have Spanish, let's say it's my first language, Mongolian as my another first language, or maybe you can just, it's not your first language, but you can speak, read and write, and then English as your other first language. Click continue. Again, fairly easy stuff, nothing crazy difficult here so far. Okay, citizenship. Let's say you are and this is important because if you're a US citizen, or even if you do not live in America but you have your citizenship or green card, you should select it here. So you have these categories. Let's say you're John Smith, let's say you're non-US, and let's say you're Mongolian. So John Smith from Mongolia. Do you have a valid US visa? No. If you intend to apply for a new different tourist visa, again, you don't have to answer this, but you can. Most people just leave it out. Okay. Do you feel that your financial circumstance might qualify you for application fee waiver? Again, this is something you answer yourself. So if you are not able to pay the fee, or if you find you're struggling with it, you can say yes, and you can select one of the sections here as to why you should be exempt from paying that fee. Assume that's not the case here, so we click no, and that's done. Your basic profile is done. So now we're moving to family section. You see these questions here. Parents' marital status. We're just going to skim through this, so it's fairly basic stuff about your parent 1, parent 2, sibling. Then we go to education. This is an important section. Now this is a very important section because you have to fill in information about your school. So is it a boarding school? When are you expecting to graduate? Other schools. Now, crucially, your grades. This is very, very important. So graduating class size, this is how many students are there in your class. So maybe in your year group at school, there are 200 pupils or 20 pupils. The reason they need this information is when they're assessing your application and your references. So if you have fantastic grades, or maybe if the reference says he's the best in our school, but there are only 5 pupils in the school, that's not as impressive as someone applying from a year group of 250, and they're the best of that top 1% in that 250. So this question is asked to evaluate that, and it's a bad idea to lie, so you should tell the truth. Okay, let's say there are 120 pupils, none. Now, class rank reporting. Those of you applying from outside of America, not every country does class reporting. So if your school doesn't do that, just click none. Again, with GPA, similarly, not every school system does GPA reporting, so you can you can avoid that. You don't necessarily have to do that. Yeah, then you choose whether you're a semester, trimester, quarter. So some schools just have 2 semesters, some have 3 semesters, like many UK schools. Others have quarters, so they have 4 quarters a year. Then we go to honours. So any academic honours. So maybe you won an Olympiad, or you have some academic distinction at school or your local city. This is your time to shine, and this is where you can include this. Community-based organizations. Yeah, this is you're basically answering if you received free of charge assistance with your application. List these organizations here. So, for example, if you're from low income background and a community organization assisted you with your application, you should list this here. It's useful information. It will not disadvantage you in any way in your application. Career interest, again, you can just put something random, but they know that people change their mind. It's totally fine. So you don't have to become an artist or an engineer if you put here that you want to become an artist or an engineer. It's just indicative at this stage. It's not actually important, and it's just information that they collect. Now, testing. I think that many of you worry about. So this is where they're asking whether you have any SAT subject tests, ACT, or other scores. As a non-native speaker, most universities want to see evidence of your English proficiency. So you need to have, you need to demonstrate it either through pursuing IB, A-levels, qualification like TOEFL, IELTS. And some universities, although this year, majority of them are test optional, but some universities accept students without any standardized testing. And in fact, this year, I believe Yale University accepted something like 25% of its class without any submitted tests. However, you have to remember that doing a test is a positive thing, especially applying internationally, as it gives more data points. So if you're able to do good get a good SAT score or a good SAT subject test score, you should definitely submit it. It's a positive thing. But if you're not able to get one, then if it's test optional, then don't submit it. But it's better not to submit a score than to do badly and submit a bad score, if that makes sense. Right, activities. So this is where you talk about activities that you want to report. For example, let's say you art and you perform in a school art club or school drawing club, or maybe you do debating, or maybe you do community service. So this is your time to shine and time to describe everything you've been involved in the past 3-4 years, which is why it is super important, guys, to start thinking about the kind of profile, the kind of story you want to tell universities about you way in advance. Because as you can see, you can put up to 10 activities here, and 10 available. And if you just have 1 or 2, again, it's fine if they're done at a high level, but if you just done one thing at a very low time commitment level, it just doesn't reflect very well on you, especially if you're applying to competitive universities. So when you're putting the activity in, you have to say what type of activity, what position you have there. It can be volunteer, can be club member, can be founder, whatever. Organization name. Describe the activity. So if it's a debating club, pretty self-explanatory, it does debating. If it's athletics club, you do athletics. If it's a community volunteer organization, you do that. So it's fairly standard stuff. Grade levels, participation, from 9 to 12. Hours spent per week, weeks spent per year. So whether you spend 2 hours per week or 20 hours per week, as you're going through your application and as you're preparing your profile, it's a good idea to make a record of how much time you're spending on stuff. And last, and probably most importantly, is your writing section. A lot of universities on Common App, in fact, pretty much majority of them require a Common App essay. You have one of 7 prompts, they are up to 650 words, and you have a lot of freedom here. Answering this question and how to pick a prompt, how to write well a prompt, and how to do a fantastic essay is super important, because this one essay goes to all of the universities you're applying to, and we have lots of other videos on this, and we're going to be doing more videos specifically on answering the Common App prompt. But that prompt goes here. It's a good idea to have a Google Doc that you work on for months before. We start with our students at least a year before writing their essays, just because it's important not to waste time, and it's important that this essay, the writing is not too difficult, but the ideas and having a structure and a story that can captivate a reader, that's really important, and that takes time, so start early. Yeah, so you have the personal writing section, then you have a question about disciplinary action. So have you ever been penalized for drugs or bad behavior or something like that? And if you have, it's much better to admit it, because it will be on your record. So own it and describe what happened rather than hide it and then they find out, which means big trouble for you. And then there is a section for additional information. If you want to leave any other comments here where you've not, basically any other information that you feel will be relevant to the admissions. In this year, they're asking about, are there any circumstances that have disadvantaged you this year? So this is your time to describe them here if you haven't already described them elsewhere. Now guys, once you're done with all of this, this completes your Common App, which is kind of half the story. And with Common App, you can apply to a number of universities, up to 20 through here. Some of those universities will be happy just with the Common App, although some of them will also want supplemental essays. And we're going to be doing a separate video, part 2 of this video, of what to do once you've completed your main Common App and then you need to do supplementals. So I'll walk you through that. I'll walk you through how to find universities, add them to your Common App, and then prepare the essays for them. And there will be a part 3 about references and referees, and this is especially relevant for students applying from outside of America, where your schools, your teachers are not familiar with the Common App interface, Common App system. So stay tuned and watch out for the video. But for now, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and don't forget to subscribe, and see you soon. Take care.